A very warm welcome for this session on behalf of GACS, Mumbai, Maharashtra chapter. Today we have a very renowned speaker along with us. As you know, we all are moving, we are currently in lockdown 3.0. I don't know we are moving towards lockdown 4.0 or not. But many of the businesses are planning to open up their operations. Surely, some of us we have already started operating in small percentage, like necessary services. But yeah, I mean, we would start at least whenever the lockdown opens up, we would start at least 10 to 20-25% operations. Surely, all the businesses are waiting to open up post lockdown. To address this, we have planned for this session, which is open discussion. Yes, we were discussing about this topic. The point that came out prominently was nobody is a subject matter in this expert. Everyone is facing this crisis for the first time in their life. Everyone is facing this kind of a crisis for the first time. So there is no, we cannot say any best practices that we can follow here. Everyone is following whatever looks best for them. So this is more of an open discussion. We have a prominent speaker who will moderate the session, who will guide us, and he will be supported by the GACS chapter leaders, including Apa Sahib, Abhijit Sarkar, Aman, Harmesh, Lokesh, and myself. What I'll do is I'll take a moment to introduce the speaker. I will also lay out a few guidelines that we need to follow during this session. Now, this is a session where everyone, it's more of an interactive session. So Jatin, who is from the GACS Secretariat, has muted everyone. In case you have a point or you have a question to ask, please raise your hand or type your question and send it to GACS. And they will, so Jatin will reply. GACS Association is the name. Jatin will reply to that. He will ask the question to the speaker, whatever you have in mind. Even if you have a point to be addressed, please put it down for the speaker. You can write your question specifically in a private message to GACS Association. You can also raise your hand. There is a function of raising your hand here, but you can always type your question in. We have at least 5 to 7 questions or points that we would address, and every point will have 5 to 7 minutes. Post that, the speaker will move on to the next point. So in case you have any point to be spoken or discussed about, or you have a question to ask, you can ask it there. So I'll take a minute to introduce our prophylix speaker, and if I start talking about the profile that the speaker has, we are very privileged to have him on board as a moderator today. Very prophylix, like I was saying, he's a true Mumbaiker. He's joined IMA, Indian Military Academy, in '86. He was in infantry and then moved to military intelligence unit. He is also a graduate of Staff College. He's done his strategic intelligence course in Washington DC. He was also selected as a member of Intelligence Officers and Paratroopers team for undergoing training with IDF team. He's commanded a unit in Manipur. Post that, after I think 22 years of service, he moved out of the armed forces to begin the second innings in a corporate side. Before coming into the corporate side, he also was the commandant of Bhosla Military School. I think more than a decade now in corporate, and more than 7 years in Piramal Group. Now he heads the facilities and admin for Piramal, and he's been he's one of the thought leaders in the industry. So I hand it over to Colonel Sailesh Raikar. Over to you, Colonel Sailesh Raikar. We look forward to listening to you.
Thank you. I just switched on my video, and
I'm not, yeah, now you can see that, sorry for the background. This is a humble abode of mine in Mumbai. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really privileged to be present here, and great thanks goes to GACS, particularly Abhijit Kale and Major Purvesh Gada. So, as he rightly said in the preamble, that none of us is expert in that because we have never handled this situation. But all of us in admin, facilities, or disaster management, or business continuity vertical of our respective businesses, we always think of the various scenarios where things can go wrong, and there is some vague thought process is in our mind always going on. Secondly, over the last 40 days or so, you all must have gone through so many office reopening protocols of various companies. I personally have gone not less than 10 such protocols. Of course, these protocols, something appearing about, say, Cisco, something about Toyota, something about something, and all these industries, maybe manufacturing industry, auto industry, offices, IT industry, ITES. So everyone has got a different sensibilities as well as different requirements. Those of you who are working in pharma sector, where your R&D and production facilities are there, you must have seen people working in PPEs and hand gloves and purification and fumigation and what have you, just to maintain the highest quality of the drugs you are producing. So they may be somewhat familiar with this kind of protocol. So coming back to our current this thing, I sincerely hope lockdown gets over by 18th of this month. But of course, that is with the government. They have got a better holistic view than any one of us. And they'll take a very prudent and cogent call whether to extend or not. So we are going to touch upon 4-5 aspects of this office reopening protocol. And first and foremost is that how we are going to maintain that social distancing parameter while traveling from our place of work, I mean from home to place of work and again back to home, while working in the office, while using the common utilities like canteens or the toilets and collab areas and all these things. So how to maintain, first and foremost, is social distancing. Second is, before that, as an admin and facilities head, what are the precautions we are going to take in cleaning and really cleaning and sanitizing the facility? How we are, and that sanitization, I would also like to discuss about how we are going to sanitize buses. If few companies are have engaged buses to take their employees here and there, then what are the precautions we are going to take in our water supply or air supply? Air supply, specifically functioning of HVAC, that is the AC systems, water supply. What are the other things we are going to talk about in maintaining social distancing, like attendance? Because there is a lot of discussion going on about the office culture will change, timetable will change, and so on and so forth. So rather than continuing this monologue of mine, I will just tell you what we are going to do about social distancing, and then I will seek questions. Just a moment, there's a board meeting going on in my company, so there's a call coming. Just give me a moment. Hi, Kunal. Nilesh Yadav. Actually, Kunal, I am on the another webinar which is going to last till 5. But yeah, done. Give me. Okay, done. I'll join. Okay. Sorry guys. So what my office is considering right now is how to maintain social distancing. One of the major action is we are asking from every departmental head that can you call 50% of your employees on the day 1, remaining 50% on day 2, and again the first 50% on day 3. So alternatively, people will be attending the office, and thus we are reducing the 50% strength in our office attendance, not from company. That way, by default, we are going to have alternate table empty, and we are going to maintain our social distancing like that. Anyone has got any point to give on this or any question to ask on this?
So, Colonel Saab, Abba Saab, this side.
Yeah, please.
Hey, fine. What you said from social distancing point of view is very correct. But what is your, your perception? How, especially in city like Mumbai, where we have almost each corner of city either red zone or contaminant zone. So, do you feel that they will allow us 15%, 20%, 30%? How that percentage will grow up, number one? And then looking into overall shared premises situation, will it be really possible to do so?
Yeah, I agree to your apprehension, because this particular attendance rescheduling, I'm talking only about the on-roll employees. But the support staff, like your pantry boys, your housekeeping staff, your security guards, it's very difficult to reduce their number, because that number is directly proportional to the size of your office rather than the number of employees you're talking. Also, these people from the lower economic stratum, they're going to travel by public transport. So I do not foresee in near future or far future also in Mumbai where we will be able to maintain social distancing in our public transport. So for that, what we are planning is we are mapping all the contract employees. And if they're coming from containment zone or they're coming from those red hot areas, then we are testing them for any aberration in last 14 days or 15 days. That 14 days and 15 days obviously will be from the day of opening the office preceding to that. And if even slightest of the symptom, we are telling him not to come to office. Those of you who are aware of Arogya Setu app, I'm very sure majority of you must have downloaded also. That will give you the mapping where the person has gone and whether he has been detected with some symptom and all this thing. So that is as far as support staff is concerned. And our on-roll staff, I mean, we can organize them, those who are coming by car and private vehicles or Ola, Uber, of course, they are taken care of, well taken care of. Those who are not, so companies also taking a call about whether we can organize some sanitized transport for them or give them reimbursement, so that reimbursement for taxis and all, so that they don't use public transport.
Okay, sir. I think Jatin, there was comment from someone. Can you please read first?
Sure, if you want me to take it now. So we have one from Mithun Mehta. He's saying how important it is to check the temperature of employee visitors and contractors post lockdown.
Jatin, you are not clear. Your voice is not.
Can you hear me? What Jatin is saying, how important it is to check the temperature of each and every employee who's entering our premises.
It's mandatory.
Do we have Colonel Riker there? Or?
Yes, I am very much here.
Okay. So as per the directive from the government, the checking of temperature, it comes under the mandatory requirement.
Yes.
Okay, it has to be done for all staff, including contractual employees. Okay, so that's important to it.
Actually, if you see this, that checking of temperature, what we are currently doing, or before the lockdown was announced, we are doing it with industrial temperatures. It is not actually the medical temperature. So it is one of the indication, I will say. It is not even the symptom. So we need to rethink about this particular thing, how to check the temperature, because those of you who are traveling in car, if you are really facing the AC, you get out of the car and actually your temperature has gone down. And if you are walking from a railway station or something like that at morning 10 o'clock, May or June summer in Mumbai, your temperature will marginally be going up. That is certainly no indication of corona. But then that particular gauge, thermometer, is only checking that much. It is not accurate the way doctor is taking your temperature.
In fact, I would also like to add that most of us are using guards or security staff or the reception staff to check the temperature with a gun, wherein we are losing out on the social distancing part. So there should be something which we can actually use without having a person, kind of an automated thing.
Yeah, Purvesh, I think I agree with you. So as you all are aware, I am also part of COVID-19 task force team, which is formulated by Fire and Security Association of India. So we have a very special document and white paper which we release for those things which we are talking about. Specifically, this disinfection chambers, then spray machines. These spray machines are basically developed for areas like slum areas in Mumbai, because fire brigade vehicles are not able to enter those gullies, small narrow lanes. So, but still they can be of use to you for maybe the surrounding disinfection and all. And there's a specific setup which we have mentioned, which is non-contact type, correct way of temperature measurements. So we have listed some of the good systems there. I have already posted that on our group. I think if people are interested, members are interested, they can reach out to me directly or they can refer that document. But I think I completely agree with Colonel Riker as well as you, Purvesh. We need to really look at that aspect because people are doing mistakes there.
Purvesh, are we going as per the time schedule for this point, or is there some other member of audience wants to contribute something? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Jatin, is there any comment from anybody?
Yeah, so we can move, we can move ahead in the second point.
Yeah. About this, again, office space, that is really, in the first meeting itself, I had told them that we should stop, particularly the pregnant ladies and nursing mothers, that they can continue working from home even after reopening of the offices. And same goes for the people who have recently undergone some serious operation. And there's going to be a paradigm shift in our thinking, how we work in offices. And that will be certainly be seen. I mean, not related with this point, but we are going to review our real estate requirement of office setup, which is going to be the fallout of this COVID pandemic and protocol thereafter. Coming to next process of cleaning process. So of course, we are going to do that hydrogen peroxide nominated companies and agencies which do cleaning activity in all the offices and wiping all the surfaces clean, and then using touchless sanitizer dispenser or door openers and all these things. We are under process of procuring them, and the thing is going on. Only thing is that even the delivery is affected because of this lockdown. Agencies, they are ready with the machines and equipment, but they have not yet reached us. So this is the thing which we are doing at our offices. The buses, we rely on our bus contractors to clean that bus at the beginning of the day, but once it enters our premises, before leaving in the evening, that cleaning will be done by company staff. Mr. Kale, you can take from there. You must be seeing so many chats. I'm
yeah.
on so many chats.
Yes,
And
yes. Just to add you, there are few systems which have been even developed for these large vehicles, like lots of disinfection chamber were very well covered by media recently. So people have also come up with this idea of providing disinfection and sanitization for large vehicles entering in any premises. Yes, there are few comments on chat section. Jatin, would you like to help us, or I will request Purvesh to take it up?
Yep, I can do that certainly.
Please.
So it's comments, and we have a lot of questions. It's already started coming now. So let me read out to you. So we have one from Mr. Vishal Russell. Says, can we ask the support staff to obtain the e-pass before resuming office, as e-pass required health certificate and the zone where the person is staying? Am I audible?
Yep. Yes, yes.
All right.
Colonel sir.
Once, I think he seems to be on mute. One second. Mr. Riker, your system is on mute.
Okay,
yeah.
Now can you hear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I tried to unmute myself, but then anyway. So thing is that e-pass is required during the lockdown. Once the lockdown is over, government will not be issuing any e-passes. That is what I envisage. And also, if I want my complete staff to be tested for COVID-19, I don't think that is possible, because even now government is really fighting hard on that front, because there is very shortage of testing kits, the shortage of doctors and facilities. So even today government is not able to test all and sundry. So that scenario is not likely to change in near future. So even if our lockdown is over, I don't know, like my company has got around 1,500 employees in Mumbai. I'm very sure a couple of your companies must be having, say, 10,000 employees working in Mumbai. So to test them, I don't know. So they will not ask for testing, and they will not ask for e-pass. Once the lockdown is over, all of us will be able to float around the way we are doing hitherto before the lockdown was announced. So e-pass, I don't think that is required once lockdown is over.
All right, we have another one related to the public transport issue. So it's Sitanshu who's saying that they're trying to avoid public transport, but how can they ensure that an employee who's come by a cab or a taxi is properly sanitized?
Yeah.
I think we again have Mr. Riker on mute. I was observed, so I think Mr. Shailesh Riker has just got disconnected.
Okay, so, Aman, would you like to take up this? Aman?
Yeah, hi, thank you. Thank you, Jatin, for unmuting me. I was on mute and I was waiting for the unmute thing. So public transport, yes, while in case your company is ready to provide the transport to the support staff, so it is ideal to avoid public transport. But in case that is not the case with you, like for many of us, and the support staff is using public transport, you have to ensure that we give them the clear guidelines that they have to have a mask, they have to have a gloves in place, wearing it all the time till they reach office. Okay, if possible in your office, you can give them a fresh mask and a fresh set of gloves, so that once they enter your office, they are that way you've taken the required precautions. While temperature check and sanitizers, everybody is following it. Those are the basics which has to be done. So these are some points that you can take care of your support staff who are coming from public transport.
So is e-pass really a compulsion to resume office?
E-pass, as of now, for essential services, e-pass is not a compulsion. Okay, and housekeeping and security staffs are been given a relaxation. Like, I'll give you an example. I work for a financial service provider who comes under essential services. So we have given a letter to each and every support staff that they work for us and we are part of the essential services. So kindly allow them to reach office safely. And that has been working up till now since the day one. And e-pass that way is not required for our support staff. So that's how we have been operating up till now. So I'm sure depending on your organization, if your organization is non-essential, so there are institutional passes which have been allowed by the government, which people can apply and which are getting issued also quite easily now. I have experienced it personally. So those are getting issued within 24 hours basis. You can apply on their website. Once that's done, that will give you an ease of travel.
So Aman, I've been hearing a lot that those online provisions are there for areas like Navi Mumbai and all, but it is not there for South Mumbai or Municipal Corporation of Greater Mumbai area, or what they call it as MMR region. But you are saying it is now been offered from.
Yes, it is now been added to the website. There is a link available. If required, I can search for it and post it back in the group, where the Mumbai has been included. It was the Greater Mumbai region was not part of the earlier link, but now the link is also available for Greater Mumbai region.
Okay, so quickly, if you have gone through that process, can you just explain how one should apply?
I have personally not done it for Mumbai.
I have done it. I can share it on that.
Yeah, please. I'll really appreciate it.
There on that link I have already posted on a test chat window the link. It is covid19.mhpolice.in. It's a simple process. You just have to add the reason why you want to travel, from where you have to travel, what is your end destination address, are you going to return from the same route? Yes. If you're going to get somebody, you need to have your first. Now they have added with the newer version which got updated yesterday or day before yesterday. In that they have added train and private buses. I think this is an indication that this will work for further. Also, this will be required for further also, because currently the train and buses are not allowed. But they have added that link also, that are you going to travel by bus or train? Secondly, it is also the same link is also working for people who are planning to travel outside Mumbai or Maharashtra also. And you just need three things. One is your photo, which should be below 200 KB. Second is a letter from your organization or your ID card supporting the reason of your visit. Third is a medical certificate from a local doctor, which will say that you don't have a symptoms of COVID-19. The major thing is that this is only allowed to travel within your district. You can't go to another district, because since last 3 days, I'm trying to get a permission to travel to Andheri from Kharghar. 3 times they have rejected my application, saying that you can't go out of jurisdiction.
While I believe we will have many people, not just from Mumbai, from other states also. In other states, it's a little easier to travel from one district to another. I have experienced it for Haryana. There has not been a major challenge if you're traveling from Gurgaon to other places in Haryana itself. Different state will require has stricter guidelines, whereas in same state movement are comfortable.
Aman, any opinion on use of public transport? Because once the lockdown opens,
Purvesh, before that, can you just check whether Colonel Riker is back?
I am doing that, sir. Yeah. So, any opinion, Aman, about, or Harmesh, anyone, any of the leaders, or
what is the question, Harmesh? Purvesh, if you can repeat, please.
Public transport. Use of public transport. See, everyone will be using public transport eventually, and like you know, in Mumbai and rest of the places in Maharashtra, public transport will be crowded.
So, frankly, if you ask for my opinion, obviously nobody has the answer to it, and nobody can comment on it 100%. But again, it's opinion, and opinion is that personally speaking, there would be a stricter rule in the usage of public transport. It won't be normal very soon for Mumbai, especially where we depend so much on public transport. So those restrictions will be there, which should be ready with, and that's the only way to manage the situation. So it can't be normal very soon, for sure.
Got that.
We have a very good question which came from Ram Swaroop, saying that we must. maybe many of us are doing it or not, but the employees, I mean, we saying that the employees we should have our employees geographical data before calling them to office, but are we collecting the similar data for our support staff as well?
I think it's must. I think it's must. You have to actually start with them, especially for Maharashtra, Mumbai rather, where the hotspots have been increasing every day, or rather containment zones are increasing every day. We have to be very, very careful about the sports staff location. So those has to be tracked and should be considered upmost priority for the organization, because a miss there can cause a major damage to our staff as well.
But Aman, then in that case, how you will be able to do that?
Abba Sahib, Abhijit here. Can I speak?
Yeah, please.
Go ahead, please.
Welcome.
I am just giving a suggestion. What we did, we did this exercise before, the lockdown started, because we were aware that, the lockdown is going to get a lot of contaminated zone where making people travel would not be advisable. So what we have decided, especially those people either who are coming from distance or, gradually people whom we felt are going to be staying in vicinity of a larger slum area like Sion and Dharavi, we restricted their movement from office to their home. We have made them stay in office only, providing them with food and other facilities.
Okay, great.
Yes, that's one of the easier way to do it. I agree with Abhishek.
Because
if that's
today,
possible,
every new day a new zone is coming up, and since this the symptoms are in a very later stage which we are being able to identify, you may not know whether even the temperature reading is a right way, or even Arogya Setu can be 100% reliable. Though these are one of the mechanism, but then a guy who clears everything and on 15th day we understand that he was already a COVID positive. By that time he would have contaminated the entire building.
Yeah, I agree with you, Abhijit. I think meantime, Purvesh told me that Colonel Riker had to disconnect for some time because there was some important issue he needs to handle. But continuing our discussion, this question is for you, Abhijit and Aman. Especially when you are running your offices in Mumbai zone, and then I think Lokesh ji has also joined, and he is from Navi Mumbai zone. If the cases are increasing, if the red zones are been showing their presence everywhere, how you are going to manage your requirement for supporting staff?
Abba Sahib, we are not going to open the offices which are in red zone. That is first thing. And before we open an office, we take concurrence and a declaration saying from a respective branch head saying that he represents a branch which falls under orange or a green zone, and most of the people who would be coming to this location would be forming part of green or orange zone. In case if he is able to fulfill the criteria, then only we will allow operations of those branches, or everything will be on a work from home mode. And since our business is more on a technological platform, so we can manage it from a back end, whereas few people who are permanently stationed in head office, they are able to manage the show.
Okay, over to you, Aman.
So rightly Abhijit has said, the best way to manage this, in case you can agree with your support staff to be in office and you can provide them the required details, that is one of the safest way to manage this situation. Other than that, you have to have a total data points of each and every location of their stay in case they are going home, and in case of any doubt, any nearby area being contaminated, you have to restrict their access to your office.
Okay, Lokesh ji, what is ways. Yeah, thank you, Aman. Thank you, Lokesh ji. What is your situation in Navi Mumbai? Lokesh ji, are you there? Okay, Jatin, can you just help us with the next comment?
So I could go through some, somebody asking for a chemical.
That's why you're not able to answer it. So I just unmuted.
Jatin, we can't hear you. Aman, please.
We have Lokesh there now. I mean, if maybe you would like to comment.
Hello.
Aman, please go ahead.
So I was saying that, there is another question on the group asking about the chemical to be used for the surface and the touch point cleaning. So what we are using up till now is a sodium hydroxide, which is claimed to be effective on major bacteria and viruses. That is what we are using for any fumigation or sanitization. I would ask others in the group if they have some other chemicals to be shared for the same purpose, please.
Yeah, I'll just pick up this, Aman. The reason being, I'm working on the same in that COVID-19 task force. So there are guidelines given by Ministry of Home on specifically while we are going to reopen the offices for sanitization, and they are given a complete list of this thing, sodium hypochlorite and all those things. Specifically, the confusion is on disinfection chambers, which have been very widely used. Again, the most important point here everybody should know is that hand sanitization is really important. I think it is like 80% of your entire mitigation strategy. Rest is around 20%, but it is very, very important, including social distancing and all. So on chemicals, apart from the disinfection chemical, MHA has given clear-cut notification on that. If you want, we can again recirculate that notification in the group. But for disinfection, there are a lot of debates going on, and through our COVID-19 task force, we have even reached to PM office and requested them on immediate priority to resolve this particular issue. The reason being, we as fraternity from facility management, we need those disinfection chamber in big numbers when we will really come back to even 50% new normal. So just wait for some clarification on disinfection chemical, but rest of the chemicals are been very clearly defined by Ministry of Home Affairs.
So, point taken on disinfection. Anything on disposal of masks or gloves that we are planning to do?
I think it has to be in incinerators. There are agencies who are specialized in bio waste. You need to contact them. There was one request from somebody, I think Guras from Equinox CNW team in the morning. So I just guided him on the same subject, that there's one guy in Mankhurd who takes care of this bio waste. So you need to follow that. But there are specific instructions available on MCGM website as well as I think state government website. They are same in nature. We can follow that.
So my understanding is most of the companies would probably go in for professional disposal of masks and gloves that are collected.
Yeah, it has to be like that.
So especially when there is whenever the lockdown opens, there is a possibility that you may find one of the person with high temperature in the office or with some symptoms. What will be the recommended or what are you planning to use as a process to isolate the person and evacuate the person?
Yeah.
Aman, Lokesh ji.
Lokesh here. Lokesh here. Very good question, Purvesh. See, when we are reopening our offices, we have to ready with certain things. Specific to your question, we must have tie-up with renowned hospital. Like we are in Navi Mumbai, we have tie-up with Apollo for this. And because we should not take any chance immediately because currently no private hospitals are allowed and given to the extent certain hospital other than Apollo or Fortis or this thing. So we have to make immediate, being an admin, we must immediately arrange for whatever if any case is coming up, we have to ready with that. And for the first thing is that we have to tie up with any such hospital. Yeah.
So Lokesh, I would like to add one thing here.
Yeah.
First thing, we should make it mandatory for employee to check their own temperature before they leave their home. So that, in case they find deviation in the temperature, it's better, they don't travel. So, rather than taking a travel and contaminating the journey, that is the first thing. Even if he does that and he comes to office and it is observed that, he has been found with some symptoms, we have to create isolation chambers where he needs to be moved out immediately with the staff wearing PPE suits. And then as we have a tie-up with the hospital, we should arrange for movement of the staff, and accordingly all necessary authorities should be intimated.
Yeah, I agree with Abhijit. I think everybody needs to look into their business structure, business requirements, priorities, and accordingly, first of all, formalize the policies and procedures. And second thing, like you very rightly pointed out, first of all, check before you leave your residence. So those are very simple and very common things, but they will really help you in a big way.
Yeah, Abbas, I have one more thing to add. Like there is a notification from MCGM also. Like all this, as we in office, we will be only having masks and gloves as a bio waste, right? So those can be even handed over to the local garbage collection agency, but they are supposed to be packed in a yellow bag, properly sealed and handed over. Can be handed over to them. Even MCGM is doing that.
Yes, you're right. Purvesh, can we take next comment?
Yeah, the question here is that after lockdown, what is the practice you will use for cafeteria? Which means, would you resume cafeteria operations, or would you insist on employee bringing their own food for a few days or a few months?
So I think Aman, can you throw some light here?
Yeah, so bringing your own food is the ideal scenario to have. Okay, so it obviously do depend on organization to organization. Social distancing in cafeteria is also must. Okay, each table should have one person sitting, or you can allow your workstations to be used for food. I know that has major other kind of challenges, but considering the scenario of social distancing and you don't have space created for such gathering in cafeteria, so you have to allow your workstation. That's another solution that we can opt for it. And bringing your own food is the ideal scenario to have, considering the situation at hand.
So I think Aman, you just said it, and I was just thinking, what are other initiatives you or anybody from the panel like Abhijit
this is
thinking
a
of?
time when so this is a time when if you see it in detail, the major concern everybody has in terms of personal hygiene is the touch points. So you have to try and see that you minimize the touch point for people. Okay, while that means some in-house innovation, or while that means some products which are available in the market now. Okay, I'm talking about maybe a small piece at the door which can so you can use the door with your foot, or you can have a hands-free sanitizer installed in your office. You can buy it or create it your own. You can have water dispenser through your paddle water dispenser, we don't have to touch the water dispenser. Recently, what we have done, we could achieve it, is that we've created a paddle tap for our wash basins also. So you don't have to touch the taps as well. So these are the small basic things that you can do to avoid any touch points for the employees, because those touch points are used very commonly and do increase the risk.
Okay, over to you, Purvesh.
Yeah, so our core committee member Sabiha also asked a similar question. So maybe Abhijit or Harmesh or Lokesh sir, anything if you want to add on this?
I would like to give my opinion. In order to maintain social distancing and ensure that the touch points are minimized, we should opt for packed food basically. So that those are kept in table and people pick it up, rather than there is a transformation of one hand to another.
True. Indeed.
Like, a vendor selling, he can keep, a packet of sandwich. First of all, no oily food should be encouraged or allowed. So dry snack should be kept in a packet so that, any guy who wants to buy it off, he can come, ensuring that social distancing is maintained. He will pick that up and go. So there will not be a physical exchange of, material from one person to another in that case.
Understood. Understood. Any other devices that we are using, like touchless, like Aman mentioned that touchless taps?
That are the sensors tab, basically.
Sensor taps.
No, I am talking about a paddle tap. So you can operate it with your foot. Yes.
Okay. Are UV sanitizers safe to handle material sanitizing?
Okay, my personal view is, yeah. Sorry,
yes, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, again, there is no proven fact that UV sanitizers are safe or not safe. But yes, it's better than doing nothing about it. Okay, so these have been used very frequently. I have read about UV light to be used in even the air conditioning systems, so that it helps in cleaning some germs. It may help in cleaning some germs. Whether it will kill or the viruses or not, that's not yet proven out.
I'll just add to what Aman said. Not only it is expensive, number one, but second thing, it all depends on the exposure time. So I think you need to look into the aspects like what is the exposure time and exposure intensity, and you need to really consult a professional advisor for that.
Understood. Now this is a question for everyone actually. All of you will have a different answer to it. But what is after the lockdown, what is the percentage of employees that you would be starting with?
So let's start with Abhijit. I think it will be rapid fire round. Abhijit, Aman, Harmesh, Lokesh.
We are currently on 10%. Maybe another 10% we would like to add.
And then you represent essential industry?
Yeah. We are a part of essential services.
Yeah. Aman?
So for red zones is 10%. For others it is 30% is what we are trying to do. Okay. Again, we are part of essential services, so it will be a little different than the non-essential services.
Okay. Harmesh?
Yeah, currently we are 100% work from home, and once we start, we are thinking of the alternate days wala thing. 3 days, one group will come, 2 days, another group will come.
Okay. Lokesh ji?
Yeah, we are working on 33% model. Okay. Out of 600, 200 people, and out of these 200 people, they are having same 3 days in roster, Monday to Wednesday, and rest Thursday to Saturday.
Okay.
I have one question over here.
Yes, Harmesh.
See, as government is directing that you call 33%, 50%, that is as per the occupancy of the office or as per the total headcount of the company? Because I will just share one example. I have an office which is around 650-seater office. Currently, I have 350 people employed in that company. There is a vacant space. So technically, am I allowed to use the entire 600 seats with 50% capacity, 300 people attendance or not? So
provided 6 feet of social distancing is maintained.
We are able to maintain that. See, if people will sit on alternate seats, they can occupy.
Your workstation for usage will come down to automatically 150. It will not.
No, there are 650 workstation.
But that will shrink to 150 because of social distancing norm. You will not be able to adhere to.
I think I agree with Abhijit. I have done the calculation for all my major offices, and with 6 feet of social distancing being followed, my office normally ranges from around 50 to 60 square feet per person space in normal scenario. As of now, we can occupy only 30% of space, considering 6 feet of distance kept with each workstation. So if your office is normally designed for 50-60 square feet per person, you can occupy 30% of your office, only considering 6 feet distance, if that is what you're looking for. Then in 50% will be very difficult.
Okay, so to summarize, you mean to say, I think I don't want to go to legality, but whatever is your present manpower in that particular location, at that particular location. You need to think of that, Aman, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And what kind of design of your office is, that's also important. If you have office with luxury where you have lots of space between the workstation, which many of us don't, it depend on that. I'm saying, so if your occupancy is like 50 square feet per person, then 30% considering six feet of distance will be able to occupy only.
Okay. Okay, but on that issue, most of these notifications, Abhijit, Aman, Lokeshji, most of these notifications are having like status, like these are suggestions or recommendations.
Very true.
So
very true.
How you are taking it? In sense, tomorrow if something goes wrong, I really don't know, though you have followed everything and then somebody can peep in your facility and say, okay, you're not doing this thing correct. So maybe we will take some action on you. So have you faced any such situations, or are you anticipating any such situations?
So you have to, I would say that you have to read through the notification quite carefully. There are certain things which are required to be done, certain are advisory. For example, there have been an advisory from a Haryana electricity company or something, which says that you should avoid air conditioning for your office. That's advisory, okay?
Yeah.
So, but that's not a mandatory thing. While if you see the condition in North or in Mumbai, for example, the temperature is not that you can operate from office without air conditioning. So those are advisories, which you have to see if it's practical for you to implement on ground or not. But yes, social distancing is a mandate.
Yeah, but
6
on
feet
that
distance in your workstation is a mandate. So that you have to follow.
Abba Sahib, it's very important to identify which location is most critical for your BAU. Because you need to isolate that location in most of the cases, because the more turnover you have, it is exposed to hazard. You can have a location where it gets contaminated, it gets closed, you are facing some challenges with the authority, that's fine, because that is not going to impact your business. But if your critical location is contaminated, your business will be challenged. So you need to isolate your premises and create a precaution in such a way that your BAU continues to be as usual.
I think, Abhijit, I really appreciate your point. The reason being, in entire discussion, we have actually, I thought this point at very early stage, and then I just forgot. What is the role of business continuity manager, and are you continuously in touch with your business continuity managers?
Admin guys have now become, most of the core member of BCP. Otherwise, there used to be some BCP people who used to work on the plan and other thing, but the whole process has been jeopardized. And now, ideally, admin has learned a lot based on this 2 months experience and with the community collaboration. And I think we are working very closely with business to ensure that business is not impacted.
Yeah, but Abhijit, just before you said, I think I agree with you, but when you started, it was a really important point here. Like you need to look into the asset specifically, whether it is very critical or not, and that
yes,
maybe an admin guy,
especially your data centers.
Yeah. So great, Purvesh. Any suggestion or any live question you would like to take?
Okay, there is one interesting question. I think this will be of interest to everyone, which has come. Now, everyone is also at their own end making a checklist of what to be seen post, opening up of the lockdown, and on a day-to-day basis, like some audit sheet kind of a thing. Anyone of the chapter leaders or anyone else has made a checklist like this, and any major point of that you would like to share?
So Purvesh, at GSES, we have published advisory on this particular aspect. I request Jatin to once again post it on our groups. Number one. Number two, it is not checklist, but it is in the form of advisory. There is another advisory which we jointly published. In fact, it was a real pleasure for us to associate with 5 of very professional organizations, IMA, Indian Plumbing Association, then ISHRE and all, taking care of MEP and all the aspects of facilities. That white paper is also published and it is released on our website as well as on our WhatsApp groups. Apart from that, Aman or anybody wants to add anything?
I would again say that we should refer the GSES document. That's very well drafted, and we are using that. I'm sure it will be helpful to many.
Yeah, Purvesh.
Yeah, I think we are almost through with the questions that we had. If anyone has any questions, maybe they can just type in here.
So yes, so we have one from
yes, Jatin.
So there's one question from Sitanshu. This says, since the occupancy will be low for some months or so, do the organization also plan to reduce the scope of work of their facility management partners or vendors so as the manpower count? If so, to what level the reduction can be foreseen?
See, the area, the answer for facility guys, you can't reduce them because the area you're not reducing, you're just only reducing the occupancy. What will be reduced is the washroom uses, that's it, and the cafeteria uses. You need to clean your office in the morning, in the afternoon, the evening. Every 15 minutes you need to clean your lifts, your common areas, your touch points. The workload will be increasing of facility guys. So there will be talks of increasing the manpower besides decreasing the manpower. Abasai Aman?
Yeah, I think
sure,
that's fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair. And while I understand the pressure would be from the management to reduce cost, and it will be for all organization. Obviously, the business is suffering.
Yeah, in
because
fact, I was about to say that, but I just wanted to take.
Yeah, sure.
There will be, but at the same time, there will be. Right now, it is the requirement
of
the
let me just complete. So I'm saying there would be a pressure. So we have to identify the ways to do that for the organization. Okay.
Yeah.
While I agree with Harmesh that the housekeeping staff or the cleaning is for utmost priority right now, the hygiene maintenance utmost priority right now. So decreasing the manpower there would have an effect on the hygiene of a premises as well as chances of risk would increase. So that is not recommended at all. While you can look at different other ways, many other ways to reduce the expense for the organization.
So Purvesh, we have some interesting questions, but before that, I think on chat, Bhushan Manohar and Vipul and all are asking questions. Before that, I think can we extend, because you are the next moderator in absence of Colonel Riker, can we extend it for 10 minutes?
We could, and Colonel Riker is back on the chat, so welcome back, Colonel Riker.
Yeah. So can you take, I think there's a very interesting question from Mr. Bhushan Manohar.
Yeah. Bhushan is heading 7 high-rise towers, and he has where 3,000 people are residing and 1 commercial tower. So the question is, how many different types of SOP that I have to do? Very practical question. How many different types of SOPs I have to do?
Riker sir, would you like to take it up?
He must be on mute. Jatin, please unmute.
So I am not able to find Mr. Riker here.
I think he said just sent
on
chat.
And oh yes. 1 second. So yeah, I remember it came with a number here. 1 minute. There you go. Mr. Riker, you're on mute now.
Yeah. First of all, we all must understand SOP is a document. And more than that document, what we do on the ground is more important. So whether you prepare SOP or not, that is secondary. Whether you are maintaining the integrity and security of your clients, customers, that is more important. Until unless some auditor comes and asks for, where is that formalized document and all these things, it's okay. Do your job. As I said, the basic 4 parameters of social distancing, cleanliness, no spread, and knowing the past history of the people. So SOP, I will not recommend 7 SOPs for 7 buildings, because someone will ask, no, I am a HNI guy staying on the 40th floor, so you make another SOP for 40th floor and third floor. So that is not the solution. SOPs, and again, SOPs are general, though we call it standard operating procedures, but any document is generally the guideline. The person on the ground, how he reacts to a particular situation, what preventive measures he's taking, and he's making other agencies, outsource agencies to take. That is more important. So question to your answer, how many different types of SOPs I have to do? No, just one SOP, and incorporate all the factors which you feel these are the susceptibilities. Like as I said in my initial remarks, a IT office or a server room or a data center will have different requirement, whereas a residential building will have certainly different requirements because footfall is more there. And in residential, I don't know whether you're talking about high-rise residential or this thing, but I presume it is residential. So there
is
are
high-rise, sir. It is high-rise.
So there are going to be children, there are going to be old people, there are going to be drivers, servants, ayahs. So footfall is palpably going to be more, and they are not going to follow the rules the way we follow in office premises. So please don't get into preparing SOPs. Just go into the details of each and every corner. What will I do? How will I operate the lifts? What should I do in lifts to maintain the hygiene and sanitation? Common areas, how my gardeners are going to operate in common areas, how my drivers are going to operate in common areas, where my drivers are going to spend a lot of time in basements or wherever there is a parking area. Because if there is a 3,000 people residing, I'm very sure there must not be less than 1,000 cars in that premises. So many drivers. Yeah. So go over each and every area, time plan between morning 12, I mean, say night 9 o'clock to morning 9 o'clock, what will be the frequency, morning 9 to morning 11, because that is the highest footfall time. And then subsequently a bit low in the afternoon and again pick up in the evening. And what drills will I follow? That should be your planning rather than generating a document.
I think just to add to what you said, sir, I think after Corona and before Corona, AC and BC will be the new language, number one. And I would like to add one small thing here. SOP, standard operating procedures, will now become mandatory operating procedures. What is your opinion, sir?
Of course, because wherever there is an audit requirement, the auditor is going to ask you for SOP. But I'll just take back you people to my army days. There are n number of training manuals and special training memorandum and so on and so forth. But at that actual point of action, how the officer reacts, be him a lieutenant or a lieutenant general, it is left to his ingenuity, his training, and his integrity and sincerity to work. So in a residential area particularly, no one will emphasize you ki mujhe SOP dikhao, or no municipality or cooperative register of cooperative societies guy is going to come and ask you for SOP. But of course, everyone will be worried about their safety and security and hygiene and sanitation of the premises.
Yeah,
so, I don't think it will be a mandatory requirement. But to maintain a continuity, let's say today I am working for your society and tomorrow I hand over the charge to some other agency. So it is always better to have some background data or some basic document to progress ahead from. So that way SOP has got its utility, but I don't think it is going to be a mandatory requirement.
Correct, sir, correct. So Purvesh, we have 6 minutes. So
we can quickly take in 2 questions.
Yeah.
These 2 are interesting questions. One is around insurance, if everyone can see that. Is any company planning to increase the medical insurance, the health of the employees, because now the risk of exposure is really high? So any opinion on that, Colonel Riker or
Purvesh? I am from that industry, so I just read. I'm not from hardcore in sense I'm not an insurance professional, but I work for a company in that domain. There is a circular recently by government. It is mandatory for your workers. If required, I will share with you the specific circular which we have received.
May I interject?
Please, sir.
Yeah, actually that circular, people are still debating in secretarial departments and legal departments whether that circular is a directive or it's a ruling. So that is one. Secondly, even your contract employees, like your security guard to your pantry boys to your housekeeping to what have you, those who are below certain salary limit, they are covered under ESIC. And in my company, those who are above that salary, we have taken a separate insurance from them. So even if that regulation comes, we are, as it is statutorily compliant. But rather than this regulation or directive, I feel as a good governance, a person who is earning salary between 10,000 to 20,000 or 22,000, I feel a very, very at the very marginal charge, you can actually insure them through various agencies. I mean, we have engaged ICICI, Lombard, and there are so many insurance companies in market. So I think we should do it as a good governance practice for contract employees. As far as your regular employees, on-roll employees are concerned, I think companies are taking adequate measures to safeguard their health.
Yeah, I agree with you, sir. I think this was basically on the directives, like you rightly used the word, issued by the Ministry of Home Affairs on 15th April. And there was subsequent IRDA circular on April 16th on this COVID-19 related measures. Purvesh.
MHA is not the exact, I mean, though MHA has got a wide ranging powers, but this comes more under labor laws. So if at all there is any government regulation, I think it will be released from concerned ministry rather than Ministry of Home Affairs.
Correct. Purvesh.
Perfect. And this is an interesting question again. So the question is, anyone is asking for a waiver, rental waiver during the lockdown period, because practically, except for the necessary services, nobody is using the office. So the real estate guys, the owners, are they offering? Ask. Anyone has any experience in it?
Yes. If no one is answering or giving any input on the chat, I'll add something.
Please, sir.
Yeah, we have got nearly 25 offices pan India, spreading, ranging from 5,000 square foot to 20,000 square foot. And we got in touch with each and every landlord. Now, leave and license agreement is actually agreement between party A and party B. So if we want to breach any of its section, it has to be agreed by both the parties. So when we got in touch with them, they also understood, because I cannot threaten any landlord कि मैं तुम्हारा office छोड़ के जाऊंगा, because it's simply not possible. But we got in touch with them, and they saw our point of, because everyone told me, why don't you invoke force majeure? I said, guys, force majeure is as applicable to me as applicable to him. So rather than that, I'll talk to them. And almost 90% of the landlords accepted our request and reduced our rent for the period of this lockdown, that is month of April. And they said we'll continue doing so if government continues with the lockdown. But that, as I said, it is not a very formal thing. It's more of a negotiation thing. But the input is that, yes, even landlords, because today if I happen to vacate any of the offices are not going on rent so fast as it was going in, say, 2018. So they also understand this thing. And a couple of places we faced resistance, like, say, where our data center was functional. So obviously they did not agree. They said your data center is functional and you are utilizing the space. And we also saw that point of view and we agreed. So we are paying them rent. So this is just an input.
Any other experience?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, as we have multiple branches, it is all dependent on a human to human, as Mr. Raika said. It's all mostly on the discussion and the negotiation. Some places we got 100% waiver. Some places we got 50%. Like in Mumbai, we have two buildings. One building gave us 15% waiver. Like in April, 15 days, May, 15 days. And they committed that if it will extend, we'll extend our support. And in another building, they again were like, you are IT company, same experience, but we are still in a negotiation with them, trying to get at least 1 month out of 3 months. So same way it is happening. So yes, they are giving this concessions on the waivers on the rent. Where there are small offices, they are giving 100% waivers. Where there are big premises, they are giving 50%.
Okay, so Purvesh, I think we almost reached the end. Would you like to close?
Yeah, in fact, before I close, what we'd like to do is we have a huge panel today and all eminent personalities. So, starting with maybe Aman, maybe if you can just give your closing thoughts or closing remarks, 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Aman, Harmesh, Lokesh, sir, everyone. And then we finally close it with Kanal Riker. So, over to you, Aman.
Sure. Sure. Thank you, Purvesh, for this opportunity. And first of all, thank you everyone for listening to it. Obviously, this is something which I am also learning with all of you, and I'm sure I got a great benefit hearing this speaker panel and hearing about from your chats. So it's actually a quite opportunity about this situation. This is going to stay for some time. It will have an effect on the way we work. It will have a major effect on the way we operate every day in our life, in our offices. So let's be ready for it. And while I believe that government and the bodies are taking all the possible steps to refrain it to minimum impact on India, and I personally believe that we'll come out as a winner overall. But the effect of this entire thing is there to stay with us. So let's be ready from a facilities point of view to manage the new normal for all of us. That is my take on this entire situation.
Perfect. Abhijit, any point from your side? Closing remarks? Are you around, Abhijit?
Over to he's on mute.
Okay. Harmesh, in the meantime, if you would like to share.
Hi, Abhijit here.
Yes, Abhijit.
Okay, no, I just wanted to say, see, no, it's a new normal for everybody. The situation is not, something for me and different for some other, other organization. So we as a fraternity need to work very closely and, instantly share the best practices and, and the one more thing is, the platform, what we have created is a very good platform. So we should try to use that for sharing genuine and authentic information so that, people are able to really utilize those information in a better way rather than, dumping it with so many forwarders and, unauthentic messages. No, the issue is today we can, succeed based on collaboration, and communication is a major tool for a strong collaboration. So it's very important to keep each and everybody appraised of what's happening, what's the trend we are following. So in between, many a time it happens that you write something and in a skip of mind you lose some critical information. That should not be the case. So we should try to work very closely with each other and try to appraise each other of whatever big practices we come across, whether within the country or globally, and we should try to share it out with each other. That's something very important. And we don't know how long we have to continue with this, but we have to collaborate and go ahead with the change. That's what I would like to say.
Great, thanks Abhijit. Harmesh, your last comments?
Yeah, thanks everyone. I've got to learn a lot of things. There are a lot of things which we need to discuss. As I'm seeing in the chat box, lots of people are writing few questions which we can't address over here. I just wanted to announce that everybody is requested. We have opened both the groups. Please post your questions. There are everybody to help each other. Even if I have a question, I will post you. You guys can help. Like Sonali is writing. Mitali has some question. So you guys are requested to please post on the WhatsApp group. We'll answer your questions there.
Perfect. Harmesh, thank you so much. Thanks to the lockdown, we got to see a Harmesh with a beard, fully grown beard. Thank you. Look, over to you, Lokesh sir.
Yeah, really, it is a tough time. I think it is after 100 years in India when the Spanish flu 1918. This is very high time, and let me tell you, it is very positive time for India also. We have to see the positive side of it also. As a GS, this platform is very, very unique platform where everybody who have joined, I request all of them. There are so many social medias are there, so many sources are there. Being facility admin people over here, we have to be very, very cautious when we are communicating any message. So the GSES platform is very, very effective platform from where you can take post You can take whatever, if you required something, you must use that. And as a facility manager, I would like to say this is the time where cost effective. We are spending a lot of money. We are cost center in facilities. So penny saved is penny earned. We have to save for our company so that they can save us and save this. So this is my message. And nothing to worry. Nothing to worry. In 2022, India will be in that position where definitely world is looking towards the India, and that result will come. And lot of facilities will come up, and there will be shortage of facilities people also. This is my hope. Thank you very much.
As they say, this too shall pass. Over to you, Colonel Riker. Thank you so much for the informative session. We missed you in between, but thank you so much for coming back. Any last comments from your side?
Yes, of course. Many of us who are working in administration and facilities, they feel that we are the last in the pecking order in the company hierarchy. I feel no. I feel this COVID has given us fantastic opportunity, because admin and facilities is going to be the cutting edge of the sword when we resume our office. And that is where you can be seen by all and sundry, to the junior most, a security guard, a housekeeping guy, to the chairman or vice president of your company, what measures you are undertaking, how you are keeping the people safe, how you are a very, very useful member of business continuity. Generally, we talk about business continuity, about say, data center going kaput or something like. It's always concentrated towards IT assets and IT information in data form, whereas no one talks about physical problems and troubles for the physical this thing. So we are going to be very useful in that. Also, we are going to be a major player in business continuity planning post COVID. So I would urge all of you to take this opportunity to be a big power center in your respective organizations, rather than thinking, administration to sabse aakhir. No. When office starts, when company is formed, administration is there. Even when project or company is closed, administration is there. So I just want to wish you all luck, and let's play the game. Let's play the game. I don't see bleak future. I see a very bright future. We Indians are, as it is, very happy-go-lucky people. The moment this lockdown is over, we are going to walk into festival season of July, August, and so on and so forth. So that's about all. Thank you, Purvesh. Thank you, Mr. Kare.
Thank you, sir. I mean, it was really our honor to, you were here, and we request you to be part of GSS and guide us always. Apart from that, Lokeshji, great comments, very positive comments, and yes, really we will be what you can say, look forward for very positive happenings in entire industry. Purvesh, I request you to close the session, please.
Sure. Thank you so much, all the panelists, and special thanks to Colonel Riker for your
and Jatin.
And Jatin for handling this session. We a lot of members from the India Secretariat team. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for GSCS Maharashtra chapter members and the other chapter members also, whoever has joined here. Thank you. We highly appreciate your participation. I hope there was some learning in the session. In case so we may have missed some questions in the session, but no worries. We are always open on the WhatsApp group. I recommend, like Harmesh was saying, I recommend everyone to please post their questions on the WhatsApp group. All of us will try and answer that. And in case there is any specific question to any of the panel members, the numbers are there on the WhatsApp group. So you can just pick up the phone and call them up. Thank you so much, everyone, and wishing everyone a best of luck for resuming business operations post lockdown. Maybe 3.0, maybe 4.0, but yeah, best wishes to everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.